Hello, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Sarah Shaw, and I am actually the elementary ministry leader at Heartland. But I also have been a long-term member of Celebrate Recovery and in recovery myself from codependency, among other things. And so I've actually been going through a really tough time recently, a really stressful time, and Jonathan asked me if I would record some of my thoughts about this time and what I've learned during this time and just how I've coped and all that kind of stuff. So pretty much what he did is he gave me kind of a microphone or a platform, and that could be really scary for him. So the things that have been going on in my life recently is that I just recently bought a house with my family. We're in the process of fixing it up and doing some renovations, which that's stressful enough. We're also in the process of renting out our old house and fixing that house up. So that's a whole nother set of concerns, just because we've been trying to find tenants and all that. And then trying to work from home has been interesting, and I have a toddler. So that makes working from home extremely interesting as well. And then on a happy note, but still definitely a change, my teenage stepdaughter has decided that she wants to live with us. So all of that has been going on in this last month. And needless to say, you can hear my toddler in the background because that's just how life is right now. Life has been very stressful, and I'm very blessed that I work with a great therapist and a great psychiatrist who have been helping me modify my medications as need be to help me kind of keep my cool, and also just to talk through all of the things that are going on in my head. And so that's not to say, though, that even though I struggle with mental illness, anxiety and depression to be exact, that's not to say that I don't have things that I'm responsible for, and that there are definitely aspects that I have to take control of and that I have to take responsibility for, and I have to be actively working on all the time. And so that's kind of the purpose of this video, is to kind of talk about some of the things that I've learned. And if anything, it's not so much necessarily that I've learned them, I've relearned them, and I've had to embrace them fully again, which is hard because I'm a perfectionist and I want to get something done and perfect the first time. So I want to beat anxiety and be done with it. And that's obviously not the way it works, but that's the way my brain wants it to work. So I had just kind of three things that I've kind of been reminded of, painfully so, in the last couple weeks as I've gone through things again. Sorry, that's my toddler in the background. Life is something that I've been having to constantly do is a heart check. And a heart check just pretty much means that I am on a regular basis asking myself, how am I doing? I am examining my thoughts. I'm examining how my heart is feeling. I'm examining my emotions. I'm examining my attitude, all of those kinds of different things to see where I'm at. And that gives me kind of a place of self-awareness, that I'm not just operating out of this basis of not knowing what's going on in my own head. So I regularly do heart checks, and that means maybe day by day, hour by hour. I love that my son is deciding now is the time to scream and to sing. Sorry, I apologize. But I'm constantly doing heart checks just to see where I'm at, and owning those feelings. So for example, last night I was really anxious, and I'd made a big decision about something, and was kind of doing that, and then everything started piling up, and I could feel myself just getting tense and anxious and panicking, and I had to own that. I own that I felt anxious in that time. I'm not going to say that something else made me feel anxious. No, I feel anxious. There are things that are contributing to it, but for the most part, that's on me. So then the second part about that is that I need to be honest with myself and others about where I'm at and what I've discovered from my heart check. And so I went to my husband and I told him, I said, hey, I'm feeling extremely anxious right now. This is what I need. I don't expect him to mind read and to figure out what I need in those moments. I need to be honest, and that's part of that heart check and part of that self-awareness of understanding, okay, what what in this moment do I need? And in that moment, I knew something that would make me feel better or would help me cope with those feelings of panic and anxiety would be to go downstairs in my basement and organize. That's something that works for me. It helps while I'm ordering physical things. It helps me order my mind. And so that's definitely, but I need to be honest with him, because if he just sees me struggling and I'm keeping it to myself, I'm not being fair to him. I'm not being fair to my family. My family is very aware of what I struggle with. They're very aware of the thoughts that I have to fight in my brain all the time. So I'm honest with other people and with myself. Okay, so the first thing that I've learned or relearned or like had to re-embrace is doing that heart check and self-awareness. The second thing is being honest with yourself and being honest with others. You don't do anybody any favors by keeping it to yourself and by trying to cover it up and put a mask on. And then finally, the third thing and the most important thing, well, maybe the most important thing, is that self-care piece. So what does it look like for you to take care of yourself during this time? And I have a friend who has told me that she thinks I do this very well. Sorry, I'm still drinking my cup of coffee. My son decided to get up real early this morning. But what does self-care look like for you? And you've got to own what that self-care looks like. And you can't be ashamed of it. You can't feel guilty about it. So for me, like I said, yesterday, self-care was going down in the basement and organizing shelves. And that was fantastic. In other seasons, self-care for me has been going to Target and walking up and down every single aisle. It's something that I can find to do that helps calm my brain down. That's not destructive to others. That's not destructive to me. It might mean me sitting and reading a book for a little bit. It might mean me saying, you know what, husband, I need you to take the 2-year-old and I need you to take him away from me for like an hour so that I can go and sit on the deck and just do nothing except drink my coffee. You have to decide what self-care looks like and not be ashamed of it. And you also might have to fight for it, depending on what it is. Like, it's not easy for me to walk away from my family when there's 1,000 things to do. Because, I mean, like I said, we moved. So there's boxes everywhere. There's chaos everywhere. And sometimes I have to walk away from it. And I have to be intentional and I have to fight for it. Now, I'm blessed that I have a family who understands that. I have a husband who encourages that, who understands that he loves me enough that he wants me to be doing that self-care. So those are 3 things that I've kind of relearned during this time to kind of help myself cope with this like incredibly stressful time. In this time of change is that I do those heart checks. I'm honest with myself and with others. And then also I'm very intentional about my self-care. So if you ever want to talk about any of those things, you're welcome to reach out to me. I would love to chat with you. My email is sarah.shaw@heartland.cc, and that's Sarah with an H. So please feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you more about it. I'm pretty open about my anxiety and depression because I think that more people need to be. I think we need to be honest about the things that we're going through. So hope that helps. Don't know if it does. I'm going to go back to my screaming child and my cup of coffee that I need to finish.